Welcome to Pick Up and Deliver, the podcast where I pick up my audio recorder as I step off the train and deliver an episode to you while I walk home. I'm Brendan Riley. Well, hello listeners. It's a lovely day here in suburban Chicago, and I'm happy to be talking to you as I walk home from the train. It is already March 4th, and just because of the way the weekend worked out, today's the first chance I've had to record a podcast since the month began. I'm actually going to record this and then bump it up 2 spots in line ahead of 2 episodes I've already recorded that I just haven't had a chance to post yet because it's the top of the month, which means it's time for Top of the Stack. For those of you new to the podcast, Top of the Stack is my monthly recurring episode that I try to do as the first episode of each month, in which I talk about the games I played in the last month and what I thought of them. I'll talk a little statistics, a little bit of fun, and we'll have a good time. At the end, I will choose some new games that I'm going to play in the next month, and I'll ask you to do the same. As a reminder, I stole the name of this segment, Top of the Stack, and the general idea from the now defunct podcast of Nonsensical Gamers, hosted by a number of different podcasters. I believe Tiffany, or Tiff was one of them. Dan Halstead was one. Dan recently had a new game come out called Aqua. All right, let's get into it. So this is the podcast for March. This is the Top of the Stack episode for March 2024, which means I'm talking about my gameplays in February. So in February 2024, I played 67 games. I had 67 plays of 42 different games for the year. Thus far this year, I've played 133 plays of 66 different games. Now, as I often share, these are plays both in person and online. I probably play more games online than I do in person, but I feel like those are games. I think of them as games and I count them as games. So just to kind of be heads up, my overall goal is to reduce my shelf of opportunity, which is the games that I own but haven't played. And I made progress this month. I went from 69 games on my shelf of opportunity down to 66. I played 3 games to get off the shelf. Or more than 3 maybe, we'll see. But I didn't add more than I played, so that's good. I also am working on reducing my collection size, which again I made progress on. I went from 581 games in my collection to 578, so that's dropping as well. My most played game in person on the table this month was Frosthaven with 2 plays, and my most played game online was Daybreak with 6. All right, so in February, I picked out 4 games that I had at the top of my stack. The goal of that process, you'll remember, is to play 3 of those. Playing 3 of those in the month is considered a success. 2 or fewer is not a success. Unfortunately, I only played 2. My 4 games were Evacuation, Alien: Fate of the Nostromo, Hunted: Woad Ridge, and Brian Boru. I played Evacuation and Brian Boru. I did not play Alien or Hunted. Hunted I'm just kind of leaving on there until I get a chance to play it. I really need to. I want to. I just haven't taken the time. But soon I will. I played a few games for the first time this month. These are games that are new to me. That doesn't necessarily mean they're brand new games, but new to me. I played 7 new games this month. Project L, Freelancers, Magic Rabbit, Patchwork, which is otherwise known as Flip Out. Flip Out is the name you would search for it on Board Game Geek, since there's a newer game called Patchwork by Uwe Rosenberg. This is a different game of an older type called Patchwork. Cairn, Dawn of the Peacemakers, and Evacuation. All of those were in person except for Cairn. I played a couple times on Board Game Arena, and I felt like I understood it enough to call it played. Sometimes I'll try a game on Board Game Arena and I don't really feel like I got it, in which case then I don't count it as played. Or I don't count it as played for the purposes of I've played a new game. I still usually log the play, but if I don't feel like I really understood what I was doing, I won't call it a game I've played, if that makes sense. I did try out one expansion this month. This month. It was a new Exit game. I consider each new Exit game an expansion rather than every single Exit game a new game, because they're all variations on a model. So the new Exit game we played was The Professor's Last Clue. It was a pretty fun one. I had 3 Out of the Dust games. As you know, a game gets dusty when it goes a year or more without having been played. So 3 is a pretty small number given the number of games I own some of the games I play so rarely, I really should be dusting off more than 3 games in a month, but it was a lighter month for gameplays. So the games I dusted off were Allow Me to Mansplain, Kingdom Rush, and Weather Machine. All 3 were enjoyable, although Allow Me to Mansplain, I don't know how often I'll need to play that. The idea of it is pretty fun, but the rules are a little clunky, and the game is sort of hard to make work. At least in my experience. It did not go over very well with my Board Game Society. They thought it was fine, it just wasn't their favorite. Next up, I have my 10 for 10. Those of you who do these sorts of things probably know a 10 for 10 is a challenge in which you choose 10 games and you try to play them all 10 times within a year. I do variations on this idea. This year, instead of 10 games, 10 times each, I chose 10 categories of game. I'm trying to log 10 plays in each. This is maybe cheating a little bit. Some people will think it's not within the spirit of the 10 for 10. I say, well, okay, sorry, I didn't meet your high requirements. I'm having fun with it. So the 10 categories I chose, I'll share the categories and the updates in those. I want to do 10 plays of legacy or campaign games. Going into the month, we already had 5 plays, and I played Kingdom Rush once, so that puts us at 6. I didn't count either Frosthaven play for Legacy campaign this month. I don't know why. Guess I could. So by that logic, it would be 8. Nature/animal games. I played Cascadia once, which puts me at 1 play for the category. Oh, I guess one of the Frosthaven plays is in this next category. Games that took 3 hours or more. Coming in, I had 2 plays from before. We actually had 4 plays this month: Expeditions, Weather Machine, Evacuation, and Frosthaven. Expeditions I don't think should be a 3-hour game, but we played 5 players, and 3 of the players were new to the game, and 2 of the players had played only once a long time ago, and so those things mixed together made the game take quite a while. But we had a lot of fun, and then it fit the 3-hour category. We had the category of cute animals. This is something I'm trying to do, play games that have cute animals in them. We played Magic Rabbit and Dawn of the Peacemakers, which means we're up to 3 plays in that category. Coming in, we had played 1 escape room style game, then we played the exit game, so now we're at 2. I've played 0 novelty games so far this year. This is something I picked because I have a bunch of novelty games in my collection. I define novelty game as a game that I own not because I think it's going to be good, but because I think it's fun to have in some way. For instance, I have this game, Raise the Titanic. It was a board game based on the Clive Cussler novel and follow-on movie from the 80s. It looks pretty bad, but fun to play, so I have it. Actually, I got it as a gift, but I've kept it. So that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. Haven't played any of those yet. Expanded games are games where there's an expansion in play. I did not play any of those this month. We had 1 coming in, so we're still doing okay there. And then the last 3 sets of 10 for 10, I have broken up into alphabet and then numbers. And the idea of the numbers is playing a game with 1-digit number at the beginning, playing a game with a 2-digit number, playing a game with a 3-digit number, and playing a game with a 4-digit number. So those are my categories. In that category, I found in A through J, I played Ink and Gold, Brian Boru, and Evacuation. So I've completed 6 of those 10. In K through T, I played Nucleum and Project L, putting me at 5 plays. And in alphabet, U through Z, and 4 numbers, I played Wits and Wagers, which is 1 play. Now that I think about it, I also played 7 Wonders, so that should count for one of the numbers, unless I already counted that in January. I'll have to check. I had an H index of 6 this month. Daybreak, or thus far this year, I'm at an H index of 6. Daybreak, That Time You Killed Me, Frosthaven, Gaia Project, Obsession, and Motainai. I made no progress on my painting goal this month. I just haven't gotten back to the paints, which is a bummer. I really like doing it. I just haven't found time. My collection size I mentioned is down 3 games. The change in that was I found a copy of Matt Gertz's Imperial, and I picked that up. And then I also picked up Station Fall, so that added 2 games. But then I got rid of 4. I got rid of Throw Burrito, Cthulhu Gloom, Horrified, and Ink and Gold. All 4 of those games I moved to the Columbia College Board Game Society shelves. And so while they're still technically mine, I'm keeping them at school as part of the Board Game Society, so I don't count them as part of my collection now. That's the news from gameplays this month. It was a good time overall, lots of interesting plays. I think my favorite play of the month was Evacuation. I will talk about that more when I get to the Board Game Espresso episode about it. But I really liked playing Brian Boru. I actually played it twice, and it's fun to get to try it a couple times and really see it working. Wait, did I play it twice? No, I was going to. I played it once and I was going to play it a second time, and we ran out of time. So I did not play it twice. Oh well. The big question is, what am I going to play next month? As I've said, the idea of this is each month to pick out the games that you're going to play in the next month. So next month I have a couple different options to play. We have, I think I'm going to try to play the Stefan Feld game Foreign Trojanum, which is a game I played a couple times online a long time ago. So it is technically not a brand new game to me, but I never got to play it in person, and I did really like it. It's sort of in the neighborhood of Carpe Diem for me. It's a little more complex, but really interesting and worth checking out. Also, I have a copy, so why not? I thought I would give a try to Bastion again. Bastion is a tower defense game that I picked up on the cheap. It was on a discount sale. I'm not sure it's going to survive a play, but I would like to play it once before I try to get rid of it. I've left Hunted Woad Ridge on there as the solo game of choice. I do want to play that, I just keep putting it off. So now by leaving it on there another month, I have another chance to succeed or fail. And finally, I picked up Medieval Academy, used at Half Price Books a while back, and I'm looking forward to trying that. Medieval Academy, of course, is a slightly older, I think, deck building game that's got a pretty good reputation. So excited to try that. Well, that sort of encompasses my gameplay for the month. I'm curious what you've been playing. If you want to let me know, you can head over to Board Game Geek Guild 3269 and share your thoughts there. We often have the most reliable thread we have in that forum is the Top of the Stack thread, where some regular listeners come on out and share their experiences. If you want to let me know something directly, you can send me a geek mail message at wombat929. You could email me, brendan@rattleboxgames.com. Or I guess you could, shout into the heavens and hope I hear you. That third one is less reliable than the other two, so take that as you will. Well, that's about it for me today. Thanks for joining me on my walk. I hope your next walk is as pleasant as mine was. Bye-bye.
Brought to you by Rattlebox Games.